Hi friends! It is already the time to set our November TBR, which is crazy. We only have 2 TBRs left for the year. I thought I was going to do a TBR prompt jar video, but honestly, you guys loved the TBR board game that I made last month. So we're gonna do the TBR board game, and then we'll probably do the prompt jar in the new year. Generally, I set an 8-book TBR, but October was a really rough month, and I only managed to read 4 out of the 8. So today, I think we're only going to set a 6-book TBR to just keep things a little bit more realistic. I don't want to try and force myself through too many books this month because it has been so long since I've gotten a 5-star read. I really would love the opportunity to do a bit of mood reading this month, and I'm hoping that by having only 6 books on the TBR, we'll be able to do so. So let's go ahead, hop on in, and I hope you guys enjoy. Hoping that you guys can see this pretty clearly. I filmed the whole process of making this, and that is at the beginning of my October TBR video. So if you're interested in learning more or seeing me create this, feel free to go back to that video. I'll try and link it above and in the description box. But for now, it is time to start playing. I did like last month only doing the 1 dice so that we didn't go through the board too quickly. So let's go ahead and do our first roll. Not super exciting for our first roll, but we do have a fantasy book, which is perfect. With the winter months, I'm hoping to get a lot more fantasy in. Last month, we got so many romances, and I'm really not in the mood for romance. So luckily, we have a fantasy pick to start our month. Okay, time to pick our books. Ideally, I want to pick all of my books from my physical TBR this month. If you saw our book shopping video, I did just get quite a few new books. I want to make sure that I'm reading those because I am really excited about a lot of them. For our first roll, we got fantasy. So there's a couple different fantasy books that I would love to get to this month. I really would love to read An Ember in the Ashes this month. I've already put in a request with my library to get the audiobook, which should be coming in within a few weeks. Feeling this is more of a gritty, slightly more harrowing story from what I've heard, but I feel like that is the vibe for November and December. So this is a very high contender. Next highest contender would be The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. November is the month that I'm going to be starting the Throne of Glass series. Don't worry, I will be filming it for you guys. I have made the executive decision that I'm going to start with The Assassin's Blade first. You don't have to agree with me, but out of the booktubers that I watch, literally everyone I follow has said if they could go back and read the series for the first time, they would read this book first. And for me personally, by reading this book first, it's going to be chronological, and that is what works best for my brain. I know there are a couple different variations of when you can read this book, but I will be starting with The Assassin's Blade. And the other book that sounds really intriguing to me right now is Belladonna. I believe this is a gothic fantasy, but I'm not totally sure if this is a fantasy. Since I'm not 100% sure, I probably will put this one back. So that would leave me with these 2 to choose from. I want to read both of these so badly. Since I already have a video planned for this one, I think I'm going to pick The Assassin's Blade. Time for roll number 2. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe not the best prompt for this month, considering I'm in desperate need for a 5-star read, but it looks like we'll be seeing which book is lowest rated on my TBR and giving that a go. It's my lucky day, right? Next prompt being the lowest rated book on my TBR. Instead of going to my Goodreads and just choosing the overall lowest rated book, I'm just going to choose out of these what is the lowest rated. And I really hope it's a short one because I really don't want to be wasting time reading bad books. So my third lowest rated book at a 3.67 is a book that I got in my book haul called Maggie Finds Her Muse. This is a fiction novel following a woman named Maggie who goes to Paris to finish her manuscript. Our second to lowest rated book is a book that I have heard some discourse about, and a couple people I follow have not liked this book. We have Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. This is rated a 3.64. Follow a girl who goes, I believe, to England on a study abroad trip. She moves into this apartment where she thinks it's going to be with 3 or 4 girls, but they all end up being boys. And I think we enter into a love triangle situation, which love triangles are a very specific trope. Not sure if it's my favorite, and that's kind of been the sentiment I've heard from those who have read this. And our lowest rated book on the TBR is Witches Get Stuff Done by Molly Harper, and this is rated a 3.61. I had actually put this on my October TBR and never got around to it because I read so many paranormal romances in October that I was so burnt out on them. Luckily, this book is really short. It's under 300 pages. The text is pretty big. So if I have time to get to this one, I don't think it will be the worst situation, but I'm not sure if reading the lowest rated book on my TBR is really in my best interest. Rule number 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. I haven't gotten this one yet, so we are going to do a random letter generator, and hopefully that letter corresponds to the title of a book or an author's first or last name. Super excited for our next prompt of a random letter generator. Let me go ahead and get one pulled up, and I hope we have a letter that corresponds with one of these books. We have a little spinning wheel here. Let's go ahead and hit spin. V. I feel like this is gonna be kind of a hard letter. I really don't think I have a V in the title, so we're gonna need that to be either the start of an author's first name or last name, or else we're gonna have to do a respin. Oh my God. My luck is so bad, it's not even funny whenever it comes to this book. The Zodiac Academy, Susanne Valenti. Oh my God, I do not want to read this book. This is the book that I have been avoiding for months. This will now be the 3rd time it's on my TBR. People who have like read all of the series say, oh yeah, it's worth it. You just need to get through like the first 3 or 4 books and then you'll really like it. And I just do not have the mental capacity to sign up for 3 or 4 books before I actually like a series. Will 3rd time be the charm? Please keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Honestly, TBRs fly whenever you're only picking 6 books, so we're already halfway through. Time for rule number 4. Another one. Physical TBR, this should be a very easy ask for this month, considering I want to pick everything physically. So this will basically just be a free pick out of my physical TBR. Okay, now this one is super easy. Having to pick something from my physical TBR was kind of my plan all along with this video. What am I in the mood for? I'll give you my top 3 standouts right now. Angel Falls by Kristin Hannah. This is supposed to be a really emotional fiction read following this married couple. The wife gets into an accident and is in a coma. And we kind of learn more about her backstory through her ex-husband. And on the back of the book, it says it's gonna be an unforgettable portrait of marriage and commitment. And I feel like this is something that's gonna make me cry, which maybe would be my 5-star indicator. So this is a very heavy contender. After that, I would probably say Belladonna. Again, I just think it would match this time of year so perfectly. And then the next one after that, as I talked about earlier, An Ember in the Ashes. I am so curious about this book. What's hard is this is pretty long. I will be reading so much fantasy though already this month. So I'm thinking maybe I do need to switch it up a little bit. I want to read this so badly, but I think I'm gonna put it back. And I think I'm gonna pick up Angel Falls by Kristin Hannah. I really am just in desperate need of something that's going to make an emotional impact and stick with me. And I think this book will do it. So I'm going to be putting Angel Falls by Kristin Hannah on my TBR. Roll number 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got this last month and I did not read the book that I had been avoiding. Let's see what I'm going to pick this month. Do I stick with the same book or do I pick something new? So what is hard with this prompt is 100% the book I've been avoiding, number 1 top of list, is The Awakening from the Zodiac Academy. And a lot of these remaining books are fairly new purchases, so I wouldn't say most of these have been books that I've been avoiding. If we try to work backwards, I have somewhat been avoiding Girl Abroad because I've heard such negative reviews. Additionally, I've really not been looking forward to reading Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez because the last 2 books I've read by Abby Jimenez have been like 2-star reads for me. I've literally hated them, so I really haven't felt inclined to pick this up. And then the book that I've probably had the longest on my TBR is Threadneedle by Cari Thomas. I think I got this in like March. So I've had this on my TBR for a really long time. I think this is more of a historical fantasy that takes place in London and we follow some witches. I really haven't heard almost anyone talk about this. The only reason I've really been avoiding this is because it's kind of chunky. She's like 550 pages. So I think because I've had this on my TBR for so long, I would have to give it to Threadneedle for a book I've been avoiding. Time for our final roll. Let's get a good one. 2. 1, 2. Kindle Unlimited. I wasn't planning on picking something specifically from my Kindle this month, but I'm not mad about it either. Let's go have a peruse and see what looks good on Kindle Unlimited. So the board game wanted to switch up the script a little bit with this last one, choosing a Kindle Unlimited pick. I'm not going to choose a Kindle Unlimited pick that aligns with my physical TBR. Let's just pick something completely separate. Going to look at my Kindle now and see if something has caught my eye. I almost got Assistant to the Villain whenever we did our book shopping. It did very much intrigue me. I've heard that this is just a very silly, goofy take on a villain and a grumpy sunshine dynamic that sounds really cute. So that is a contender. I could continue the Windy City series with Caught Up by Liz Tom Ford. I really did like those books. They're all sports romances, but Caught Up specifically is going to be a baseball romance. But I think what I'm going to choose is The Wingman by Stephanie Archer. I started this book like 2 months ago, and this book has just been sitting at 10% on my Kindle, which is just aggravating me. So I think I'm gonna push through, finally finish this book. It's book 3 in the Vancouver Storm series. It is a hockey romance. I gave book 2 in the series, The Fake Out, 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. So I'm curious to see if The Wingman will also be that good. TBD, but we already have enough fantasy on this list, so I think a romance will be a nice palate cleanser. So those are my book picks for my November TBR. This is shaping up to be a very interesting month. To do a quick recap, our first pick was The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. Our second book for lowest on our TBR was Witches Get Stuff Done by Molly Harper. For our very cruel letter generator, we got the letter V for Suzanne Valenti, and we will be reading the first book in the Zodiac Academy. For kind of a freebie pick through the physical TBR, I picked Angel Falls by Kristin Hanna. For a book I'd been avoiding, we have Threadneedle by Cari Thomas. And then finally, our Kindle Unlimited pick is going to be The Wingman by Stephanie Archer. So another TBR set. I hope this month is a bit more successful than last. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date on the books that I'm reading. I already have a couple different reading vlogs planned for the month, but as always, let me know if there's anything that you'd like to see. And this is where I will love you and leave you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys.